Well, the most unique thing about Landsat is its length of the record, for sure. The ability to go back 30 years or more is something that you just can't do with any other sensor. My work, I think of it as a way to map resources generally, right? Because we can't conserve something unless we know where it is. And one of those resources is stream ecosystems. So we can use map resources to figure out where streams are, but to understand the impact of development on streams, we need a separate record. And for that, we use Landsat. So the Landsat record affords us the opportunity to look at changes in impervious surface area. Those are the roofs of buildings, the parking lots, the roads, and how those have changed over time, and how those changes near streams are different than changes that are distant from streams. And that can have an impact on what the effect of impervious is on those streams. So we've developed methods that allow us to measure the timing of spring from Landsat data. What it allows us to do is see how forests have responded to warmer weather in spring or cooler weather in other years. And so we can see at a very fine level of detail the phenology of that forest. And we compare that to tree ring records. Tree rings afford us the possibility to look at how nitrogen cycling is different in years of an early spring or a late spring. This allows us to say, for example, that earlier springs have led to reduced nitrogen availability in forests, which means that over time, as CO2 rises in the atmosphere and the climate warms, we do not get that feedback towards trees reducing the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere as fast as we think it might happen, because earlier springs are leading to reduced productivity in those years. Well, I think people are naturally drawn to maps, and to be able to look at the landscape at such fine temporal and spatial resolution and over such a long period affords us the possibility of teaching about changes that have happened on the landscape. The changes that we see are related to the effects of things that we do on the landscape, like urbanization, for example, and climate change. So those are ways of teaching about those phenomena, and hopefully the more educated society will make decisions that will either slow those changes or make them less impactful on our quality of life.